Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. And a couple of things. We have been having a little AC issues, so if it's a little steamy in here, you're not alone feeling that. We have just finished our first session of the Albuquerque Metro Crime Initiative that I was able to convene today with all of the different agencies that you see in front of you and a lot of the folks behind me. We just want to share with you a little bit about what we talked about and what we're going to be doing going forward. I do want to mention there's a long list of entities and agencies that were involved in this. As a Friday afternoon, some of them have headed home to their families or back to work, but I do just want to mention a few of those in sort of roll call fashion. Office of the Governor, we're welcome to have, of course, our District Attorney, Raul Torres, members of his team, Office of the Attorney General, the Chief Public Defender, Secretary of Public Safety's office, also the New Mexico State Police, we'll hear from them in a little bit, and many city departments, our new Community Safety Department, of course the Police Department, and we also had some folks from our federal U.S. Attorney's Office, as well as a host of representatives and senators from the state legislature, and some wonderful city councilors and county commissioners. So I think it was a very fruitful and unifying kickoff to a very important initiative. Now, I know that everyone in the metro area feels that crime is our #1 challenge, and everyone who is involved in this convening today absolutely agrees. It's something that we hear about and we feel, unfortunately, every day of the week. But I also know that we are working together, case by case, on the front line, every day. And our public safety workers and our public safety prosecutors, everyone involved, our judges and the criminal justice system, they care deeply about public safety in our community. The question is, what can we do to improve public safety in the short term across the criminal justice system? It's that question that we assembled here today to address. So the goal of the Albuquerque Metro Crime Initiative is basically to develop a short set of achievable and effective action items that we all agree are urgently needed to help us prevent and reduce crime. This is not about a report, it's not about a study, and it's not just about talking to each other. It's about us saying, these are our challenges, and this is how we need help. And the other steps in the criminal justice system saying the same thing. And then us agreeing and saying, okay, we are gonna go forward, whether it's to each other, whether it's to city councils, whether it's to county commissions, or our state legislature. And we're gonna say, this is the short list of items that will make a difference across the criminal justice system. It might be big things, like the VIP program rolling out statewide. It might be things as simple as more funding for the judicial system, which is strapped with the caseload that they handle. But we're going to be specific and actionable with each one of those requests. And then we're going to hold each other accountable to fight together so we can accomplish those going forward. Now, I also want to share that all of us are also frustrated. There is no doubt. We have all, everyone behind me, everyone involved in this, has been in some part of the criminal justice system for a long time. Some of us for a career, some of us just for the last few years. And we know that things have to be better. But we also know that we can't do this alone. We've all tried that. We've all gone to the legislature and asked for what we want, or we've all gone to city council and asked for what we need. What we have not done is supported other areas of the justice system in their asks as well. We have not put forth an Albuquerque Metro set of ideas and said, please help all of us. That's what's different about this initiative. And the timing is also very important. We know that crime has been a challenge in the metro area going back since I was born and raised here. But we also know we are seeing some distinct challenges that are continuing to get worse. We know that areas, whether it's things like street racing, or it's things like domestic violence, or it's recidivism, or it's violent crime, are all experiencing increases when we are still trying to do all we can on all the other aspects of crime in our city. So, the reality is very clear. I will tell you we are going to break the homicide record. That is a surprise to no one in Albuquerque. I will also tell you we're likely going to break it in the next few days. That is how bad the challenge is in the Albuquerque metro area. And that is why we are convening this group here today, because it is time we have a unified voice on what to do about that challenge going forward. Now, I also want to be very clear that some of this is about literally the nation we live in and the water we're swimming in. Violent crime is up all over the country, and in many cities it is much worse than ours. But we know we have to take the responsibility to deal with the challenge. But we also have to acknowledge that the national crime trends affect us, and we're not alone. And so we're going to do what we have to do. That's what this is about. But we also are acknowledging and respecting the fact that unfortunately these challenges are being faced all over our country. So for us, the leaders and experts behind us are going to engage in 5 sessions that are going to take place over the summer. These are going to be specific deep dive sessions into areas of the criminal justice system, into early intervention, into detention and diversion, into hearings, into resources for victims, and to even looking at reentry and career pipelines. But again, they're going to be specific, and it's going to follow a case study the entire way through, so that we're actually talking about a specific system, or sorry, a specific case as it goes through the criminal justice system. So for us, we believe that this sort of whole government approach to criminal justice system is the only way to actually improve the entire criminal justice system. And I know today we had the right people in the room. I think for all of us after the pandemic, it was heartwarming to see all of us recommitting to what we can do in the short term. And so we do have some folks who are going to share their perspective here with us today. And so what I'm going to do is hand it over, I think probably first to maybe our chief of police, and then we'll figure out sort of who else is going to share. And if you want some perspective after, some individuals will be able to chime in as well. So Chief of Police, Harold Medina. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody, for being here this afternoon. Today is about us changing the direction of our city. I've been in the metro area for 26 years. We've always struggled with crime. Seems like we've always been on the list of most stolen cars within a city. And we have to make a difference. We have to make some changes. I think it's an understatement to say that our criminal justice system needs an overhaul, and that in a lot of ways it's broken. This is about us bringing all the partners to the table and us looking, self-evaluating, and seeing how we can improve as a police department. We've had to do that a lot at APD. After the Justice Department came in 2014, we had to look at ourselves and say we had to change on the way we use force. After the last monitoring report, we had to say we have to change how we review force. During the past few years, we've had criminal cases go forward where they've been dismissed, and we've had to say we have to change how we train our investigators and the tools that we give our investigators. We're asking for all of the criminal justice system in the metro area to look and see how we can assist them in getting the resources they needed so that they could improve their processes, so that our officers who are out there every single day arresting individuals do not have that feeling that by the time the report is done, the individual has already hit the streets again. We're aligned in a lot of ways with all the partners in the criminal justice system. We know that we need resources for mental health, we need resources for substance abuse, and we know that we do not want to put people into a system that they never get out of. We need to give people the help to overcome the underlying issues which are causing them to cause crime. But at the same time, as a community, we need to draw a line in the sand. The violence has to stop. We have to ensure that we do everything to ensure that people are safe within this city and that they could walk and not feel like they're going to become the victim of a crime. And in order to do so, that line in the sand has to be drawn, and some individuals have to stay in custody. This is about making sure that we're making sure that all parts of the system are getting the resources that they need, that we're communicating with one another, and that we're making differences and changes, but above all, that we're advocating for all the parts of the system, that whether they need funding, they need legislative changes, they need staffing, whatever it is, we need to make sure that we listen to them and we help them get the resources they need so we can make an Albuquerque that we're all proud of and that is safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Okay, now let's hear from our State Chief of Police, Chief Thornton.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming. To me, and the Chief and the Mayor said it perfectly, and I won't reiterate any of that information, but these are quality of life issues as far as crime is concerned. We patrol the vast majority of this state, and us being involved in this collaborative effort to make sure that we bring down crime in the metro area is important to us. It's hugely important because we have families, we have friends that live in this area, and we need to make sure that our communities are safe, and our officers do whatever they can and provide the resources that they need to get the job done as far as bringing down the crime levels throughout the state. This touches home for all of us, and I think when we look at it, you should have the ability to go out your house and enjoy a day without having to deal with issues of having your vehicle stolen, having issues of dealing with a violent crime or something occurring that affects us all. And we want to make sure as the state police that we're involved in this, and we will continue to be involved in it, and we're going to be attending these sessions. But as we see crime increase and make the effort to address it, I think it's important that us as a community, we all focus on what these issues are, that they are quality of life issues that we need to address, and that we all need to support the efforts that are being made today. It was a great discussion today, and we will be a part of that. And I appreciate all the time and effort that's going to go into this, and I think we're going to have a good product at the end of it. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Thanks, Chief. And one other perspective we want to certainly hear from is from our legislature. And wonderfully, Representative MEREDITH DIXON has agreed to share a few remarks. Representative?
As elected leaders, we have a responsibility to find answers to our current challenges. And crime and public safety are the #1 concern and challenge that we're hearing regularly from our constituents. So we do recognize the heightened concerns, and this initiative will raise awareness about approaches and proposals that will improve results. So my community in Southeast Albuquerque wants us to come up with comprehensive efforts and do everything in our power to make sure that they feel safe at home and on the street. This initiative is going to focus on various types of crime, including homicides and property crimes. And so I'm looking forward to being able to present specific measures that will tackle distinct challenges and strategically prioritize law enforcement resources. By educating both the public and ourselves, we're going to be more knowledgeable about what needs to be done.
And now to walk us through some of the details of this and how it's going to work out, our former U.S. Attorney and our Senior Policy Advisor for the Police Department at Albuquerque, Damon Martinez.
Good afternoon. So there are 4 sessions remaining, and the session 2 on July 28th, we're going to be studying a fact pattern, and you're going to learn that the subject of this fact pattern is beginning to have a criminal record and is also beginning to show mental health issues. So what this is going to do, this will allow our panel of experts to discuss the need for early intervention and resources and solutions. Then in session 3, on August 13th, again looking at this fact pattern, we now learn that the subject of it has a serious drug problem, breaks into a home, and steals a car. What this is going to do is this will allow our panel of experts to discuss the criminal justice system prior to trial, including policing prosecution issues, diversion programs, and pretrial detention issues, as well as other main issues like homicide and property crime. And then in session 4, on August 27th, dealing with the fact pattern again finally, we will learn that the subject has an extensive criminal record, is involved in a drug buy, and ends up killing an innocent bystander with a handgun. This final scenario will allow our experts to discuss possible sentencing enhancements, needed resource for victim advocates, and resources needed for reentry programs. The last session is on September 9th, and this is going to focus on career pipelines. Our experts will examine the pipeline for careers in fields that support our efforts with behavioral health, policing, public safety, and criminal justice, including prosecutors, defense attorneys, and court personnel. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Damon. Okay, and we'll take some questions if folks have it, but before we do that, we also want to hear from our President of City Council, Cynthia Borrego.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us this afternoon, and thank you to the mayor for this initiative. First and foremost, I want to say that there's a couple of things that we want to ensure that the public understand and be aware of is that as we live in our community, we want to feel safe as we go out in our everyday lives. And that's first and foremost. And there's an air and an atmosphere of unsafe. And I think that it's important that initiatives like this bring all of these people together, all of these agencies, in order to provide and strengthen the linkages that may have already been existing, but need to be strengthened. And I think that City Council, and I will speak on behalf of City Council, it's important that, number one, we support our police officers and that they know that they are supported. In addition to that, it's important that we put our money where our mouth is and that we provide the resources that are needed for initiatives like this. So moving forward, I will say that on behalf of City Council, we will be looking at any budget adjustments that need to be made within our budgeting process. So thank you all for being here today, and we look forward to this initiative.
Okay, I think what we'll do is we'll take a couple of questions, and then it's up to individuals if they want to speak further and so forth. So, Bobak, you want to kind of organize us?
Sure. Do we have any questions here?
Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon. All right.
Okay, well, details obviously will come out over in a press release as well. All right, thanks everybody. Thanks.